There it is. They're calling the
right behind me here in London.
All right.
So let's.
We got FIFA 17. We got Madden 17.
Let's.
Do we just want to kind of go through each game and say what we're thinking, or?
Yeah, that sounds like the plan here.
It's shit.
I'm sure you're going to have the same.
Which game is that? I don't know. All of them.
All right, so that wraps up the press conference from EA opening the E3 2016 festivities. We saw on display, of course, Battlefield 1.
Well, that was dumb.
Some new Star Wars. Maybe stuff we don't really know. We also saw the first look of Mass Effect Andromeda, and a lot of looks at Madden and FIFA as well. And so, I mean,
and Fee.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
Iron.
So.
Fee, and I guess really EA Originals is what they're trying to promote out of that.
Yeah, which that's an interesting concept. So I mean, okay, let's start with where they opened the conference. You know, talking. What did they start with?
Titanfall.
Yeah, they started with Titanfall 2, and this, of course, this was EA's answer to Halo, sure. Trying to add something to the shooter genre. And I mean, in the room, it seemed to be, I don't know, maybe about 50-50.
Oh, we didn't have a ton of Titanfall players in here. It looks to me like something, if you like Titanfall, you're going to like this. It looks like they're taking what Titanfall was and expanding on it a bit. Which
did this take any of our non-Titanfall folks into the checking it out category?
I'll try the demo.
Maybe,
but
I don't know.
If you're so excited about worthless garbage, you want this too?
Basically.
I mean, most of us here, I don't think most of us weren't Halo players, or we didn't play that genre of game.
Right.
So if you're not if that's not your genre, I doubt Titanfall 2 is going to be what sways you.
I mean, it's also got mechs too. So I mean, like, mechs are kind of a.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I would definitely try.
I don't think I would. I mean, I don't think I would. It was not one that I checked out. Although was that a Xbox exclusive the first go round or no?
No.
Okay. But yeah, Titanfall 2. We also got a look at Mass Effect Andromeda. Nika, what did you think at our very first look at the new Mass Effect?
Well, I would say it's technically not the very first look, and this revealed about as much as the last time we learned anything about it.
We did, but we saw more footage of...
I mean, we saw a little bit of what some of the characters looked like 2 characters, which was kind of cool. And we actually heard that they're the voice acting for like 1 sentence. So, I mean, I'm excited. We did learn the actual theme of the game, that you're exploring a new galaxy as you find a new home for humanity. Like, we at least have a basis now for the game. But
where does your hype meter stand?
I mean, I love Mass Effect a lot. Like, a lot. So I'm definitely excited. I am also excited that they chose I'm pretty sure that's the player character that they put at the end.
6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Where's the hype at?
I'm going to go with 7.5 right now.
Okay.
Where was it before?
Like 6?
Because prior to this, all we ever had was a logo, right? Like,
no, we had a trailer that pretty much just showed landscapes, and it showed like a character in N7 armor like walking away. That was it. We had that from like a year ago, and this at least tells us like where they're going with the game, what a couple of the characters look like, and I mean, I don't know. So like in my mind, I'm like super hyped for Mass Effect, but then when I like stop and think about what we know so far, in reality, like I don't know enough to have really real hype yet. So
well,
like I know
sounds like tempered expectations.
It's like I know it's going to be a game I'm going to buy day one, but that's my term of like that's my hype level. But in terms of like actually being excited for the actual content of the game, I'm still hovering between a 7 and an 8 here.
So you're buying it on name, basically.
I mean, yes, because I love all the other ones.
So, I mean, half of E3 is, of course, the trailers and the stage presentations.
At least they had a trailer, unlike the other games that came after it.
That is true. That is true.
Personally, I feel like EA overall they are clearly winning this E3 right now.
Well, so far, because
They are in the lead.
they are.
In their own minds, yes, they
But the
are.
thing is, if they really wanted to make a joke like that, I feel like they would have hit this a little bit harder, so that whoever comes after them couldn't beat them. And I don't think that they lived up to that.
Oh no!
Maybe this is why they paid to go
They
first.
fumbled this one.
So they didn't have to follow anybody.
If they had dropped an actual even a name of that action-based Star Wars and gave us 5 seconds of gameplay footage,
Yeah.
I would say that they had a decent chance, but they did not even do that. So
The only new IP that they announced was Faye. That's
Fee.
it. Fee.
and that's an indie game,
Faye,
and it's
Fee,
and
whatever.
It's by a
Yeah, it's a
Swedish
game
indie
they didn't
company.
develop.
They didn't develop. It's the indie developer in Sweden, and
Right.
they are just the platform.
The
for it.
Ironborn.
Yeah, that was
What is dead can never die.
Yeah, they would have had to announce something new and solid for them to really have any kind of footing in this E3, and they didn't do that.
Kasumi Cascade in the chat brings up a good point. We beat COD on YouTube. Let's just take it easy at E3. I sort of feel like they were yeah, we kind of have the upper ground. We don't even need to show up. You know what I mean?
the lazy way in.
I mean, look, Activision pulled out at E3 altogether. They're not even on the show floor.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
They have no presentation. They have no presence on the show floor. They're done. I mean, when you're Blizzard and Activision, you can make those kinds of decisions.
Get her done.
And the thing is that what would they be showing off outside of Call of Duty? And it's got all of this negative press on it. Of course, they backed out. Of course.
I mean, but I feel like this would have been their one chance to actually prove that their Call of Duty is not going to be shit, and they didn't take that opportunity.
They don't care. They know that you're going to pay for it anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna sell a shit ton of them.
Exactly.
I guess.
Exactly.
But the thing is that they have. I mean, I guess they don't care about bringing in new people. I
Why
don't care
would
much
you?
about Call of Duty, but if they were to make one that seemed interesting enough, I would try it. And clearly, they're not trying.
Of
so
course they don't.
why would I try?
But they make all of the money. When it's a preconceived notion that you're just going to sell a bajillion copies of whatever you shit out, of course the quality declines. That always happens.
Okay.
And then people stop buying it, and that's how game studios shutter.
Hold on. So Activision's not showing up to E3. Does that mean Blizzard isn't going to be there either?
That is correct. Blizzard's not there.
Blizzard
how
just
mu-
saves it for BlizzCon.
How am I going to know what the new hero is in Overwatch?
Wait till Final Encounter Cast reports on it.
Sombra.
Well, I already know Sombra, but I want information. I want to know what she does.
You gotta look in the whole. They said they've hidden it all throughout the map.
What's not going to tell us what her abilities are and stuff?
True, I'll give you that. Yeah.
You're damn right. You're going to give me that.
Also, hey, I heard
Also, give me some more Mountain Dew.
I heard Overwatch confirmed.
More
that-
Mountain Dew.
I heard
More
Ov-
Doritos. Hot Pocket.
So I hear Overwatch confirmed Deckard Cain's still alive.
I don't know what that means.
What?
Diablo, apparently there's a big thing in Overwatch where one of the posters, if you look at it just right angle, says Cain lives after Diablo 3.
So who cares about Diablo 3?
Who-
Hey,
Me?
guys, this has
Who-
nothing to do
Diablo's
with
awesome.
EA's
Who played Diablo 3 anyway?
A lot of people did.
It's not like it's not like EA gave us a whole lot to talk about. Let's be honest.
There were Star Wars games.
She did confirm that there is an action Star Wars game that is coming in 2018.
But who sat here thinking no, there's probably not another action Star Wars game coming?
Actually, I was after they just disbanded Lucas Games or whatever it was called. I honestly had lost all hope of a real good Star Wars game. Not kidding. So if there actually is,
it's
still up in
EA,
the
so
air.
you probably.
Fine, but
God.
the people who are part of Uncharted are working on this. It could be okay.
Okay, I love Legacy of Kain. Uncharted clearly has a really well written storyline, well crafted story. I just don't know. Don't know.
EA has the Midas touch for shit. The feces touch. They've got the feces touch.
Fecal touch.
The fecal touch. Anything they touch turns to poo.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. They have a surprising track record of being very shitty.
Do you know how nervous I got when I loaded up a BioShock game and it was talking to me about Origins? I'm like, oh no.
No. Oh,
Get
God.
away from my BioShock.
Oh, yeah. That's true. They did. Oh, they fucked Origins, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Yes, there are new Star Wars games coming. Battlefield 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, among them. We already knew that was going to be a thing in some pre-E3 releases and pressers. So I don't know. What do you guys think? They did not say, and I'm shocked at this. They did not say that there will be a single-player campaign for Battlefront, which seems like the most important words that they needed to go out on that stage and address about Battlefront.
For me, not so much, because I never looked at Battlefront and said, "Where's the single player?" Because
but everybody else did.
I get it. I just don't know why the single player was never any good in any of them. Everyone played it for the multiplayer. It was nice that it was there, I guess, but it sucked.
But is it worth $60 for it not to be there? It just seems like a game developer not doing their due diligence or just cutting corners.
Yeah, I miss you so much it hurts sometimes.
That game wasn't worth $60, but it wasn't the lack of single player that caused it. It was the lack of multiplayer content. If you want to make it just multiplayer content, there needs to be more than that. I don't have a problem with game just being multiplayer, but it has to be more than that. It wasn't enough at launch.
Yeah,
there were so many problems with that thing.
And but a single player campaign wouldn't have helped it either.
I think it would have helped a little bit,
but there was only what? How many maps were in the game at launch? How much were you really going to get of a single player campaign out of that?
Was there five
or six?
I think there was 6.
So you got 6 missions.
Yeah.
Then they released one not too long ago or after it.
Yeah, I thought there was only 3 campaigns or 3 missions at launch.
That was during beta.
Oh, okay.
3.
Because I know Jakku launched after release.
Yeah, it was right around the time the movie came out.
Still, I don't think single player would have been the saving grace of Battlefront. There wasn't enough. It needed to have more if it was just going to be multiplayer.
It's got to, I don't know. It's got to have something more than it had. There was limited characters, limited maps, and it's not like they have to double it. I think that they need to go at it hard, like quadruple the amount of content that was in there, or lower the price tag.
Yeah.
It would have been fine if that game had launched at $39.99.
Yeah, I agree. And what was frustrating about that game was what they did have in it was good. The maps that you could play on and the mission and the stuff you could do was legitimately good and
cool.
fun to play.
Yeah.
It's just it just didn't feel like there was enough of it. It felt like this should have still been beta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fair enough. If you'd like to call Final Encountercast sound off on any of the EA E3 2016 panel, then Final Encountercast on Skype, 810-207-1764 is how that is done. Join us. Let us know what you think. Were you excited for anything that EA had announced? Guys, we saw footage from Madden and
FIFA. Sports ballings.
I think FIFA was their longest presentation point.
Yes.
I get that it makes a lot of money. I just don't understand why it needs to take up that much of a presentation.
Well, when you have technology where you can just have walk around and then suddenly get transported into the game itself, that's pretty impressive.
That's not that. I feel like just for you, Chris, they needed to include the asterisk. Actually, does not happen in real life.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that was shitty then. Fuck.
It's not great. I'm sorry. So
Chris is looking forward to when he buys the game that comes with this big soccer ball attachment. You got to kick. He's like, how do they fit it in the box?
It's just a big box. You need to blow it up.
I
Lots of blowing going on in FIFA world.
I don't know what to say about this, except that the only thing that was interesting between the two of them was this one-player story mode that seems to be coming along with FIFA.
That is actually super interesting.
It is really interesting because
as long as I don't have to play the soccer ball game.
I'm willing to bet it will be I'm thinking. My first thing that pops into my mind, my frame of reference, is how in FF10, how there was the whole story leading up to a blitzball game between a very specific team. You fight against them, and then I'd assume you would have some more drama between whatever team. Then you'd move on, and then you'd play the next team that your team is playing, and then you'd keep going on.
See, now, in the very brief time in my life that I was into sports and that I would play sports games, I would, of course, make myself as a player on one of the rosters. Right. And this seems like, let's take that idea and let's expand it and make it really, really interactive and make a narrative that comes along with it. Now, my question is, like, how dynamic is that narrative? Is it the same narrative every single time? Which I guess if it is, like, that's kind of cool. It gives you something to follow along with, like, playing through a season or 2 seasons, or like maybe it might even be a longer arcing narrative that happens over your entire playtime. All of which are cool ideas. Who knows what the end result is going to be? But if it had some dynamics in it, I think that would be remarkably cool.
EA, please do this better than THQ did it, because THQ did it for wrestling, and it's awful. It's so bad.
Can we expect BioWare level of dialogue options with our soccer ball game?
That would be so awesome.
Can I expect Final Fantasy style storylines?
Here's the one thing I would want out of it.
Do I get to fight a dragon at the end? I want to fight a dragon.
Just whip a soccer ball at it.
One thing I want...
Exactly.
Kick the ball at the dragon's head.
Take
that, Rich Vulgar.
Gotta hit that Jex shot. One thing I would want is I don't want it to be like you have to win the soccer game, and if you lose, you go back to your save point, try again. Like, I want it to be if you lose, something different happens than if you would win it.
Yeah,
I want it to at least have that level of dynamicness to it.
Yeah, like it would trigger like a conflict between you and the management, or
a
something.
Series of events.
You're being benched, and you got to deal with. Then you got to watch the next game from the sidelines.
Dude, that would be kind of cool, man.
It's so legit, which is why it'll never happen.
No, but I think that the overall idea is kind of interesting, and that's the most that I can say about a sports game. Unfortunately, I really don't have much more to say than that about them. And then, of course, the closeout for the show, Battlefield 1.
Sure.
Going back to World War I with the next Battlefield game. Now, this got a lot of love on YouTube, and of course, an interesting setting. Now, the thing is that I mean, and I'm assuming you all did too. We all lived through the era of World War II shooters, where that was the biggest thing in the like PlayStation 2 era.
Medal of Honor 1 through 12.
Exactly. And even the Call of Duties, like have some in there, and. Of course this would happen, that everything gets, modern warfare and futuristic out, and it just looks more and more and more like Halo, and someone decides to rewind the clock and goes even before World War II and goes all the way back to World War I.
That's what I like about it, is instead of like we've done World War II to death, how many times can you do the Normandy landing? It's a cool sequence, I give you that, but how many times can you do it? To go back even further and do World War I, which was pretty underrepresented in video games, is really cool.
Has it ever been done before? I'm sure it has.
It has, but I can't think of it.
Was Big Red 1, was that World War I or 2? I can't remember.
Big Red, I think is World War I.
Okay.
No, it is World War II, isn't it?
Okay.
Chat, help us out with that.
Yeah, help us out on this one, chat.
Lack of
I don't know off the top of my head.
Let's see.
But either way, like World War
II.
World War II. Okay,
World War I, very underrepresented. So it is cool to see that, and I like I say, that we have both the African front and the European front being represented. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I don't know that it's going to necessarily give anyone more of an appreciation for World War I than they had before. I'm not sure that any of us walked away with a higher appreciation of World War II in the big glut of World War II shooters. But I mean, there are other wars than world wars, right? Like
Revolutionary,
French American Indian War.
We were joking. The Civil War, that may actually be an interesting time period to explore.
Yeah, and just like because you could use so many familiar locations in America, like
that's true.
I thought that'd be a really cool feature, but
that is true.
But no one wants to touch Civil War for probably fairly obvious reasons.
No, shut up.
Games.
I actually think that if you concentrated, if you leaned into the race themes of the Civil War, that would be remarkably interesting in a contemporary context.
It would be, but what studio do you think is going to touch that?
someone that has some balls, man. I mean, it definitely is going to take some balls to touch that.
That's what I mean, though. Of the studios that are making first-person shooters right now, who has the balls to go after that?
Someone's going to, especially, yeah. I think if this does well, if Battlefield 1 does well, especially paired up against Call of Duty, then yeah, I think that opens the gate for exploring other time periods and other conflicts too. So I don't know, I'm very interested to see what ends up happening.
I'll be interested to see if a studio wants to take up the mantle of having a game where you shoot American citizens. I will be like, to me it's not a big deal, but that I know there'll be a media spin that they're going to have to get around if they're going to do that.
Well, how else would you do a Civil War?
That's why
game?
I say that's why I don't.
You have
how many can you think of? How many Civil War shooters can you think of?
But you have to lean into the controversy.
You do. You have to fully embrace it.
If you think of the way that Rockstar has marketed a lot of GTA games, especially the early '90s games or the '90s games, really all of the marketing through the '90s, and the way that they used the momentum of the nightly news and all of the reaction there, I think that would have to be an active part of your marketing strategy to lean into the controversy that it would cause.
How well known was Rockstar before Grand Theft Auto?
Not very.
Because I would think, are we going to be waiting for a relatively unknown company to be willing to take that media hit and go for it? Because anyone who's already like established in the market, I feel like, why would you bother? Why wouldn't you just play it safe? But if you can get a name out there by doing something like that, maybe a small unknown company will go for it.
Or it may take like a hurting company to be able to make that happen. You know what I mean?
Breeds creativity kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's happened so many other times before that I think that that may be a good assumption that that's the only way that it'll get done.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are some other conflicts? I mean, Vietnam is not one that has been very well explored. That's also a lot of controversy right there.
Get that Spanish-American War going on.
Well, the Korean War. I mean,
the American Revolution.
The American
War of 1812.
Revolution. It's interesting. Well, I mean, the American Revolution and the Civil War. We've seen those used as settings for other games, but never specifically first-person shooters. Right. And I guess it's never really occurred to me that the controversy would be that huge until now. You consider that we had an Assassin's Creed game that was set in the revolutionary Americas, and that I'm sure had to do with killing Americans. So what makes the first person shooter genre so different?
Probably of just a 20 or 30 years of press around it, maybe.
Also, I think it's the perspective. I feel like thinking about a Civil War game, if you're trying to have an FPS shooter from the perspective of a single soldier, and I feel like it's obviously going to be a soldier from the north, but
if it was a southern soldier, that'd be very interesting.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, people in the South would then be like, I mean, there's so many. I feel like there'd be so much outrage.
But you don't. But
that it's
you don't think
bias and
but you don't think you could do at least some kind of representation of both sides?
Maybe.
A campaign on either side. That'd be cool.
A Master Chief and Arbiter type of thing.
Damn it.
That's probably the worst example of that you could pull. But yes, that is something like that.
It's exactly like that.
I don't know. I just
feel like it's a very
you'd have to do it very delicate. You'd have to do it very delicately.
That doesn't make it a shooter game.
No, use a sledgehammer and just go balls ham on it.
No, I think it would be very interesting if it was handled properly, but I feel like it is going to have to be someone relatively unknown who's going to take that risk. Someone who is like where the risk is worth the reward.
Interesting. Obviously, yes, there are Vietnam games. There are others, but they're less explored conflicts than. I mean, it's like we went World War II and then we just fast forward straight into modern warfare. You know what I mean? Like it was just there was a very abrupt jump.
How long until you think we start getting flurries of games that are specifically around like 9/11 is the intro to the game?
Oh, jeez.
And then
See, I think that's an even hotter third rail than
because it's still the war on terrorism and stuff is still technically going on.
Yeah.
So I wonder
the thing about
where that jump's going to be.
The thing about World War II is history has us painted in World War II so clearly as the good guys
that
it is very, very safe to go and explore that. Whereas something like with Korea or Vietnam, we are the ones invading, and it's a lot harder to paint that perspective.
But I think that would ultimately make for a much, much more interesting driving narrative.
I completely agree.
Because, you take something like Spec Ops The Line, which is a fairly traditional, fairly straight ahead third person over the shoulder shooter, and then the story that it tells really makes that game into something really special and something really phenomenal. And it is the moral gray areas of that game that really make it stand out. And I think that if you explored that through history, that is far more interesting than just clearly we're the good guys here.
Right.
But I understand what you're saying, and I agree. It is much more safe.
I would like to see a game where you come out of it feeling like, I don't know if I was the good guy in that game or not. That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to see a war-based game based on the forest moon of Endor, the Endor War.
Yes, that was a major engagement. I feel
against the second Death Star and the Ewoks.
Yeah, that was big stuff.
Those things are evil.
That would be Battlefront.
The Death Star or the Ewoks?
Ewoks.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh wait, that doesn't even make sense because it is Battlefront Star Wars.
Yes, it is. You dumb shit. Oh my God, you're an idiot.
Or was I just being topical?
No,
I doubt
it.
He says, trying to desperately get out of the tailspin he's put himself in. Nice job.
Sorry, your words made sense, but your sarcastic tone did not.
Last call for any live calls. We'll take any reactions that you have to the EA panel that we just watched. Final Encountercast on Skype, 810-207-1764. Overall, I would say this is the statement that they are already winning really is a cringeworthy moment right there. They barely showed up.
Hey, you don't know. For all we know, they could be winning overall after everything.
Maybe all the other panels will be worse.
Right.
But that's just it. They have to hope for other panels to be worse because they were not good. That was a terrible panel.
That was not very good at all. I don't think that E3 or EA even tried.
That panel is, for me, a 3 out of 10, and a 3 only because Battlefield 1 looks awesome.
Bit of a stinker there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our coverage of the Electronic Arts panel out at the E3 2016. Be sure that you come back here tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be covering the Bethesda panel. And, of course, we've got Kooky Persona live on the floor out at E3 2016. We'll be checking in with her. She's collecting interviews. And, guys, we'll be presenting those to you next week on Sunday, starting at 5 here on twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. If this is your first time hanging out with the channel, hit that follow button and join us for the rest of our E3 coverage. Just kind of going over the schedule. Monday, we've got Microsoft's press conference happening at noon Eastern, followed by Ubisoft that's going live at 4 p.m., Sony at 9 p.m., and then on Tuesday, we've got Nintendo's much anticipated press conference starting at noon Eastern. All right, that's going to do it here for us covering E3 2016. I want to thank my crew that has been hanging out with me. Of course, we got Callie over there, Chris, Nika, Len hanging out in the background, even though you didn't have a camera. Right. We appreciate it. Robbie was not able to join us, but he's going to be joining us for the Bethesda panel. Guys, we'll see you back here at 10 p.m. for more coverage of E3 2016.